coming along great. I ran the belt sander around the edge to get it nice and smooth. And then I took my 16th inch, I guess it is, round off. Maybe it's a 32nd inch round off on the router. This guy right here. And took the edge off the corner for two reasons. Safety for one, so I don't cut myself. And secondly, this is how the aluminum is going to go on the edge. I want to make sure that there's no interference in the corner of the door to the inside corner of the aluminum. Now the aluminum is what they call architectural. I guess it's design. You got structural and architectural. Structural is got rounded corners on the inside, and it's thicker at this end than it is down here at this end. So yeah, this is the stuff to use, architectural, and so there you go. Yeah. So I just went and checked the fit of this, and it fits excellently. It's a little snugger across the top than I wanted. Along the side here, that's the fit that I was shooting for. So I'd have room, you know, for a nice good line of the adhesive that's going to hold these things on. So it's fine all the way around. This end's tight down here. Don't know why that happened. Should be perfect, but it ain't. So the end over here is good, but then it gets tight from there to here, and then back here on the end again. So I'm gonna try to force this on there and see how it fits. If it'll go, then that's fine. If it won't go, then I'm gonna have to sand down the wood on the bottom or widen this opening. That's probably not the wisest choice, because I do have the tools to do that. I'll think that through. Probably won't do that. Probably just sand the plywood. The thing about sanding the plywood is the surface layer on this plywood is so thin, like when you look at it from the edge, you can't even see it just about. So if I sand this, I got to make sure that I stop and don't go beyond where we're going to see it, because we might decide that we want to use like a polyurethane or something so we can see the wood grain on the inside, because it does look that good on the underneath side here. So yeah, one step at a time. You gotta move slow. This is 1/16 of an inch thick, in case you're wondering. So lots of planning has gone into this. I mean, it don't look like much now because I've already got it figured out, but there were a lot of variables I had to overcome in order to make this thing happen. All right, well, geez, I don't know what to do here. I was able to pound this thing on there, and it's very, very tight. The middle of this is about 15 thousandths of an inch bigger than the inside of this. So it's tight. So what I'm thinking of doing, I don't know, this might be a bad idea, is taking my razor knife and putting a score on here, and then hey Elvis, how you doing, buddy? You alright, man? You're not supposed to be outside of your yard. Yeah, buddy. He belongs over there. Let's go take him home. I don't want to see him getting hit by a car. Here's what we're going to do, man. So, I butchered that up really bad, huh? I should just use a pencil, because after I cut the line, I realized what I should do to make this easy. I'm going to use my router with a flush cutting bit. and I'm going to just shave off about a 32nd of an inch of this stuff. So what I did is I measured, if you don't know, these calipers, you got inside measurement, outside measurement, and you got depth measurement. They're all the same, but you also have from this surface to this surface. It's another way of using the calipers. So you can use this method here, and I've got the measurement. I probably ought to check all the way around, but this should be right. I'll check it, but I got the measurement of this from the edge of the bit to the edge of the pad or base, and so now I've set this piece of aluminum on here to cut less than what I need, because I want to sneak up on this and make sure that I'm not goofing up, right? So we're a little bit less than what I need, right? About a 1/16 of an inch or so. And so we're going to make a light cut, just enough to shave it. And I'll be setting the depth of this here in a minute, but I'm not going to be able to show you how I do that. It's just you unhook the clamp here on the back, and yeah, etc. whatever. And we're going to run the router across there and give it a light shave, and see what that does for us. Alright, it ain't real pretty. Gotta clean that up a little bit more, but it fits. I can just tap it right on there. Not bad. Alright, I'm formulating a plan how to cut this aluminum. I think I know what I'm going to do. When I put the saw over here and put the foot flush with this, I'm getting a little more than 3/4 of an inch. I'm getting about 13/16 of an inch. There you are down there. 13/16 of an inch of overlap, which I'm good with, at least for starters anyway. So that would be easy to just take a piece of wood and screw it to this edge that's sticking up just enough for it to rub on the whole way. I don't know, I was just doing some adjustments here. This little lever is the lock for the blade height, and the handle was down too low, and it's been bugging me for a while that when I tighten it at lower levels, the handle hits down here. So I realized there's a nut here. I took this bolt, I guess, out, and this is adjustable in height, so I fixed that. That's cool. And then I was just sitting here looking of noticing that I had this guide stop. I was wondering where the heck that piece is, and then I noticed, I've had this thing for years, that there's an Allen wrench inside this little holder right there, and that's for the blade. I never knew that. I don't know how I never knew that. And so what I always did is I used an Allen wrench taped to the end of the cord. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, the header piece is narrower, so that same method I can't use over here, because in order to get the same amount of overhang on the aluminum, this has got to sit out. So in order to do this, I'm going to have to come up with something a little more fancy, like 2 pieces of wood. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. I do want to cut it from this side. At least that's my first thought, so I can keep an eye on what I'm doing and not accidentally cut, you know, make a bad measurement, right? And cut the opening too large. I'm just trying to work through all the details. Now over here will be easy, because all I'll have to do is take something like this and clamp it. And that'll be my fence, so I can make a straight cut there. And I'll stop short in the corners and finish that off by hand with a little hacksaw blade. So, alright, so I got a couple pieces of scrap 1x, screwed it to the side. These things have a bow in them in this direction, so putting a screw on each end is keeping the middle tight. I don't have to put a third screw. And right now, where this cut is landing, I'm measuring about 13/16. I'm looking for 3/4. So I've set my blade depth so it'll at least scratch, maybe even go through. And I'm gonna take a little test cut here to see what it really measures when I make the cut. And I think what I'm going to do is trim the top edge of this piece of wood on the table saw, the amount required to give me what I want down there. Alright, there's my little cut. I didn't go all the way through, I just made a blade mark. Now we take our tape measure. It just comes out to 3/4 of an inch right there. Don't ask me why, it's so perfect. But that's what we're looking for. So now, that's dependent on the width of this piece. So if I have any variation in the width of this, it's going to change what I've got going on out here. So I'm going to double check all my measurements, my width, through that area. And I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and make this cut and then set up on the other side and see if I can get lucky enough that I'm going to get my 3/4 of an inch overhang. Make that cut. This will be the easiest of all pieces, and that one is going to be an interesting challenge, so I'll probably do that one not last, but second to the last. Well, so yeah, kind of pissed. I was paying really close attention to where I was cutting here and failed to keep my eye on the end game, and I frickin' cut my door. Not only once, but twice. So we will no longer be staining the inside of the door and polyurethaning it. It will be painted. Alright, I keep getting lucky. But you can't fix stupid. Gosh, that's bugging me so bad. That is such a rookie mistake. Dad would be pissed with me for doing that. Anyway, all I had to do was put another piece of 3/4 here before my little fence, and I guess I should have known that, because the difference between this and this width is a piece of 3/4 inch that I added here. So duh, that was pretty simple. So now the last piece I got to cut there and then come back by hand, either with a hacksaw blade. Now that I'm seeing how much I got to cut, I'll probably use the jigsaw to finish those things off.